When I was about 47, I had such chronic hip pain that I could barely walk my dog around the block. And the crazy thing is that my mother, who was 77 at the time, she was hiking in the Himalayas. I thought, what's going on here is, we're genetically very similar, we look similar, we act similar. What does she know that I don't know? Well, it was actually my mother who told me about this work. And she said, listen, this work, it's about science, it's about movement, and why don't you check it out? So I lay down on the ground and I did about 2 hours of somatic movement, and I stood up, at about 80% of my pain was gone. And that was the moment when I realized I had just learned some missing link information that no one had ever taught me about how my body moves and how it should move and how it can move.
I felt slightly broken and I needed help. And I was trying to find my way through the world with 2 young children, and I knew something had to change, that I couldn't live like this. I was in chronic back pain for 2 years, and I felt like giving up. I was ready to be done.
I'm a dressage rider. I came off. I was injured very badly. It was 2 years of recovery. I broke a lot of bones, and it really threw my body off.
8, 9 years ago, I had a complete health breakdown, and my body just decided like it had had enough. It made me start to look at life very differently.
I couldn't do a lot of endurance running because, I would just be in pain. I would be sore. My feet wouldn't be landing properly, and it would cause one issue would sort of domino effect lead to other issues.
I came from a background of a lot of information about the body, from being a dancer to going to nursing school to becoming a massage therapist. And when I realized that for someone with so much information about the body, that I was still missing something, that I didn't realize there was this thing called sensory motor amnesia, that the brain had anything to do with how we move, that you could almost instantly change your experience of yourself in your body through the use of pandiculation. That if I could create this amazing sense of a renewed energy and renewed movement within myself, I had to share it with other people. I could not keep this a secret.
My sense of it is that Martha had an experience that many people have had, where she found this work, felt fairly miraculous effects in her own experience, and was like, why isn't everybody doing this?
I had a very busy practice, and I would have people come back to me week after week and say, that was great what you did last week, Martha. Do the same thing on that shoulder, exactly what you did. And after a while, I thought, this is crazy. If people needed me to fix their shoulders and go to a massage once a week, how did we last as a species? How did we get here?
It's hard for people to admit, because they'd rather go down to the chiropractor or the physical therapist and go every single week because our insurance pays for it. It's the only thing I can think of why they do it. Because I'll say to them, so you go to the chiropractor every 2 weeks. And so how's that working out? Well, I've been going for 3 years. So are you getting to the end of it?
There's tons of people that are going around every day after having surgeries, after, doing tons of painkillers, and they're the inherent problems that are the backbone, that are like the core of their issues are still there. They're just addressing the symptoms.
There's a lot coming at us in this world, a lot of toxins, a lot of energy that affects us in different ways, a lot of emotions, a lot of stress. But we can deal with that if we just have the tools.
And for many of the modern epidemics that people are dealing with, stress is a common denominator. And Essential Somatics specifically targets the physiological accumulation of stress.
The geography of our history is in our bodies. And trauma, emotional trauma, psychological trauma, the insults of life, as it were, they change your brain. One of the most helpful ways to bring people back into a safe, comfortable, pleasant experience of themselves is through movement, because we as humans learn who we are and what we're capable of through movement.
People are always looking for a fix outside of themselves, but pandiculations are just, they're in us, and we just need to recapture the time and space to make that happen for ourselves.
A pandiculation neurologically is when we contract into the tension that's already there, slowly lengthen out of it, and then completely release.
It has to do with our ability to quiet down. We have to give ourselves the possibility of coming back to what I like to refer to as the center, or back to neutral.
And the powerful thing about pandiculation is that it literally, neurologically, changes your experience of yourself in this very moment.
And then we can self-regulate and soothe our nervous systems and get out of pain, like that.
And I did this little 2-day workshop with one of Martha's lead teachers here in Portland. My wife and I both noticed immediately how we were moving through space on our walk home was different, just spending 2 days, short days, by the way, on focusing on the things that Martha's teaching.
When I found somatics, it was just such an aha moment, because it worked, for one thing. I didn't even realize that I was moving my body in the ways that I was moving it. And it was just instant pain relief. I went away from that first appointment and everything worked. I felt like I was walking the way I should walk, whatever that means, but it felt good for the first time in a long time.
I'm I used to be very dyslexic and have a lot of sensory motor issues with left and right. And since I've been doing somatics, I truly know my left and right. I ride my bike everywhere, and I don't have the problem anymore like I used to.
I feel like it's the missing piece to my Pilates practice. It's like the thing that people can do on their own. They can figure out how to do their own work, and you don't need any equipment. You can be just on the floor, you can be in a chair, you can be not able to walk. Any age, any fitness level, that's what drew me to this.
I've taken the fundamentals. All of a sudden, my back pain's gone, so I can run better, which makes I'm in better shape now. I'm feeling better. I'm getting more sleep at the end of the day, which means that I'm waking up feeling better. My mood's improved. I can now focus easier at work. It just cascades upward.
When people come in, they think, oh, well, you fixed my friend's knee, or you fixed my friend's back, and I always want to tell people I'm not fixing anything. What we're going to do is we're going to work with your brain and your nervous system, which is controlling how you're moving, and through our work together, your brain is going to learn a new pattern.
When we close our eyes from the somatic perspective, all we are is sensation. And all we're being asked to do is notice that sensation.
As you do these routines, it helps you to see and feel exactly where you might be lacking. So then you breathe a few more times into that, and you let it expand, and you listen, and you pay attention. And it's remarkable what you learn.
The difference with somatics from any other movement classes, instruction that I've taken, is that from my point of view, there's no competition. You're there working on it. Your instructor is there coaching you on it. And you're not looking at the person next to you and saying, oh, they get their elbow higher than me. I should be working harder than this. And that is a experience that is very, very unique to somatics, and one that I love.
So the Essential Somatics remind you that your body is here to support you in everything that you do. And if you feel the sort of the whisper that the body gives you, instead of viewing that as that's pain, it's like, oh, look, I'm probably standing in a way that is putting too much weight here. Let me just do a real quick arch and curl. And you come back to a more neutral position and off you go.
When I do my somatic exercises, I just feel smoother. I feel more comfortable in the world. I feel softer in the world. I feel more able to enjoy myself in the world.
I try to tell my students, this is what you do in the morning. It's like brushing your teeth. If you can take 5 minutes to do this, you're not going to have lower back pain. And then they'll come and they'll go, I had lower back pain. I was getting ready to call the chiropractor. And I remembered this you told me, and I went and did it, and it went away. And it's like, thank you.
I get to watch people think, and I get to really see a process happen, which is pretty amazing. You see kind of the light bulb go off and the eyes go, and there's a shift in energy as they have a shift in their body and a shift in awareness.
I think that's what's beautiful to me about somatics in general, is it starts from this perspective of the possibility that's put out there of human potential.
What I've learned is that this learning isn't just about movement. This learning is about my mind, my spirit, my mental state. I don't have to get anxious because I'm not doing well. I have to find that spot where I'm doing what I need to do for me.
So if someone truly is ready to make a change and to have a different perspective on their experience, their life, then this is a good fit.
So it's really exciting because people all over the world want to learn about this work. People all over the world want to live their lives with mastery and joy. And I think this information really speaks to them because it puts the responsibility back to the client, and it says, you have the answer within yourself.
And I just kept peeling this onion back, and I found myself coming to a point where I became more flexible and more coordinated than I was 20 years ago.
Because once you know the work, once you come to a fundamentals, once you do the training, you were sort of your own somatic practitioner. There's not really any other form of healthcare that can give that much power to the patient.
I see a lot of people that say, I don't want to take a pill, I don't want to get that surgery. And they're trying every single possible method because they're optimistic in the end.
And when I look at what a role Essential Somatics can play in getting people off opioids, off painkillers, and finding a way that they can improve themselves and their own movement, that's world-changing stuff. That's incredible stuff.
I think in a generation we could make an enormously positive impact on the healthcare system if people could learn basic information, real physical education about how their bodies work and how they can rapidly reverse muscle pain and restore themselves.
When they get off the table and their eyes are shining at you and there's a smile and they can't even speak, and they've done something for themselves that no one can do. And they're now finding out what the taste of freedom is about.
I've been doing this practice for about 13 years. First, I needed it because I could barely get through my day. And now I need it because I want to do so much more with my body. I want to live so much more grandly in the world. I've got 2 kids now. Without my somatic practice, getting 6 hours of broken sleep for multiple days, I think would have made it really hard for me to still get up and go about my day.
And how interesting that it should be so simple, and it's just something that suits everyone's need. Everyone's.
I have a student who came to a fundamentals, and what she shared at the end of those 2 days was that she realized that she had been in a prison of her own making, physically in her body, that she had become so fearful and so tight within her body. But now she said, I have the key to my prison, and I can unlock it whenever I want.
And this class has been interesting because it's just kind of putting me back into my body correctly. It's a very different feeling. I feel like this gives me a way forward that I hadn't seen before. And this feels on the inside quite good and very right.
I just feel better when my body works in a more efficient and natural way. I feel better, I get along with people better, and I just think that follows. If you don't feel good, you don't reflect that in the way you deal with other people.
You know, the person that's the most important to me is my husband. He finally said, okay, I'm doing this with you because there's something really different. It has totally changed our lives and his golf game.
And my husband, he is incredibly physically fit, and he is one of those people that sort of goes in the no pain, no gain, and he can power through anything. And even my husband does somatic exercises just about every day.
I think really what somatics offers is that in many dimensions of our life, there does not need to be a plateau, but that also we can just continually develop greater capacities to be in our body, to move efficiently, to move freely, to explore joyful, energetic movement.
It's been very freeing to see that my body's not going to hold me back. I'm 75 years old, and I'm ready to go forward now in more harmony than ever. So I have a great deal of confidence for the fact that I'm getting older and I don't need to be afraid of that. So it was an emotional weekend that way. It truly freed me up. I hope I live long enough to produce the wonderful results that are going to come from this.
Sensory motor amnesia, that condition of chronic tension that builds up over time, well, that is not age-related. You can be 50 and dancing ballet, or you can be 25 feeling like you're 105.
When people get rid of their pain, their perspective of life changes. When you're in pain, you're kind of already shut down and clamping down, and it's taking away your joy and your freedom. So when you release that, when your nervous system lets go of the tension that's holding you in a pain pattern, people their faces change, their personality changes, their outlook on life can change.
When you shift to thinking somatically, when you follow the movements of Essential Somatics, you're going to feel better. You're going to get the results you were looking for when you were pushing and stretching and forcing your body to do something it really didn't want to do.
Essential Somatics is a foundational practice. It should never take the place of what you love to do. It prepares you to do what you love to do better.
This is a way to feel better in your life. This is a way to do better what you already do well. And all of that exists within yourself. This is such a cool thing. And you're just going to feel better. It's going to make your run better. It's going to make your yoga better. It's going to make your cooking better, your kids better, because it will, because you are more neutral. You have more energy.
When you are aware of your body, when you have reduced the level of tension in your nervous system, then boy, oh boy, are you prepared to train for your marathon, or go powerlifting, or learn to salsa dance, or go to your yoga class. You're even prepared better to meditate, or to play with your grandchildren, or go hike in the woods.
So I had a person I was doing an assessment on that was a triathloner, in terrible pain, ached all over. And we did the movement, we did the assessment, and he was much better when he got off the table. So what I said to him was, you can do all the triathlons you want. Just start your day with some release. Let those muscles know that they can let go, and then take them to their extreme. And then at the end of the day, show them they can let go again.
You want to move fast and you want to move slow. This slow practice prepares you to be fast, adaptable, and responsive to life.
The first training I was a part of was the clinical training in Denver with Martha and Teresa, and I just loved their their vibe as teachers, the way that they work together.
And it's so beautifully taught by these two experts that I just couldn't get enough, actually.
If you embody this work, you experience joy, and that's contagious, and people want that, and so they come to you because they see that light in you, that love in you, that joy in you, and that giving, and they want to be part of that.
It's because of their true love of what it is that they're doing and teaching, and belief. I mean, there's a belief there. That's why we come back.
I don't think you're going to find somebody so committed to this, more committed to this than Martha. Not only is she interested in the material and she's interested in the process, but she's interested in the person.
You know, Martha's unbridled enthusiasm for having her work be accessible is inspiring.
I think the more embodied we are as human beings individually, the more peaceful the planet would be.
I would just encourage people who have, gone through the proverbial list of everything. I've tried everything and I'm still in pain. You haven't tried everything. You haven't tried somatics.
Why would you put off living, a pain-free life full of positive movement? What possible reason do you have to wait?
Isn't joy the essential reason why we're living? The joy of life? To me, without joy, there is no life.
Finding this work has completely changed my life and my outlook for my future. And so the opportunity to share that with other people is just extraordinary.
I am so curious to know what my future looks like and how much more freedom and joy will come from my continued practice. And I just think this information is so important and everybody deserves to have it.
Martha's vision for somatics is that there's a somatic educator in every town.
My hope is that Essential Somatics becomes a household word, every bit as popular as yoga and Pilates, that people go to their Essential Somatic movement classes and prepare themselves to move well in any chosen activity so that they can go about their life, whatever that life may be, and they can do it with a sense of self-actualization, physical independence, and mastery.